So I remember, the whole experience, how things gets linked up and then feel is sort of evolving. Ramnivas Mirtha wanted to, when he became the chairman of the academy, he saw my Ramkinger portrait. So he asked his private secretary, I am told this Radhakrishnan is living in Delhi, find out. So when he said find out, where to find out? I stopped working in Gadi then. I shifted to a small place somewhere. And I remember after a few days, the one gentleman comes from, to my house. Are you Radhakrishnan? I said, yes. The minister wants to meet you, as if I have committed some kind of a crime. So what happened was that the minister wants to meet you, he is the chairman of the academy. I said, when should I come? No, not when, now you better come with me. So he took me. And I went there to meet Ramnivas Mirtha, and what a fantastic meeting I had. It was absolutely not a minister to a sculptor. It was just two human beings, very, very rooted, a kind of a simple meeting. In that he said, oh, my people took 3-4 days to search for you. Don't you have a phone? I said, no, I don't have a phone. He said, then he called the secretary and said, and he was the Ministry of Information means I think Ministry of Information and Telephone or what, broadcasting or whatever. He said, tomorrow I want to make sure that tomorrow he has a phone. I said the phone was coming not for my advantage, as if for his advantage to contact me. Next day, 24 hours I got a telephone in my house. So I suppose my communication with the rest of the world through telephone, that was all because of him, and I'm so grateful to Ramnivas. Any commissioned job is to satisfy somebody else. When I did the Mrs. Gandhi, the commissioned people came and asked why Mrs. Gandhi is not smiling. I said, well, I really don't think it was necessary, because what age of Mrs. Gandhi that you're depicting? I said, I don't know what's her age, but I know what was my age when Mrs. Gandhi declared emergency. So I cannot really say what was Mrs. Gandhi's age when she declared emergency. Then she said, but she looks very arrogant. I said, well, was she not? In the sense, I'm not making a character, I'm not just making a very glamorous woman. I'm making a prime minister who ruled the country for the last 13 years. So I am really trying to get the strength of a person who ruled, who declared emergency, who was one of the strongest women of this country. So I enjoyed working on that. But can you change the expression? I said, I'm sorry, I will not. I have done my best. I remember one of the incident also. When I was told for the 40 years of India's independence, 1987, I was told to do a portrait of a Nehru for Nehru Center in England. I did the Nehru, but there was no cap, there was no rose. So I said, then the government told me, no, we cannot accept it without this too. I said, I'm so sorry. I have done the Nehru. The vision that I have is without the cap, the human side of the Nehru, not the political image of that. But they rejected it. But later Gopal Gandhi, he became the director of Nehru Center in England. So Gopal Gandhi himself coming to my house and told, Radhakrishnan, I understand you have done a Nehru. It was rejected and we apologize for that in the sense. I would like to have it. He took that sculpture and then he went to England. It was installed. So what I'm trying to say, one day that appreciation comes back to you. One day any sculpture that you make will find its position. You don't have to chase for that position, it happens to you. So my first exposure to Paris was that 3 days that I spent. But then I decided, I came back and I told my wife, Mimi, I'm going back to Paris. That's a city that I would like to spend more time. A year after, I think, yeah, 89. I decided to go back to Paris for 3 months. And the idea was to sort of to get me exposed to the art practice that is happening where it was one of the capital of the culture, the capital of sculpting. If you really look at it, post Michelangelo or post Rosa, I would really say that was the period of the great of the masterpieces in sculpture. Most of the sculptors found home in Paris. Alberto Giacometti to Brancusi, or take any of the names for that, some of the modern masters. And I really decided that I would like to work. In 1993, I had a major exhibition in Paris. And after that, there was no looking back. Kept on working. And I remember the whole sculptures were being shifted from the studio in 93 to Europe. I had these friends called Genevieve and Jerry Prulemans. They had acquired the entire collection of mine, which was exhibited in Europe. So I was told at the opening of my show that Mr. Radhakrishnan, the Indian ambassador, came to open the show and told me that, Mr. Radhakrishnan, this is a kind of a very, pleasant surprise for you to know that this is the first Indian sculpture exhibition after India's independence. And I was just thinking, my God, India became independent in 1947. And in 1993, you are showing the first sculpture. I said, well, you may think that it's a surprise. And really, it's a surprise to me because there were great masters lived and worked in India. And where were we? We couldn't exhibit any of those people. Later, I understood the difficulties that happens. There are painters like Raza, Shakti Barmans, or Souzas, and many of those masters who really were exposed to European market. But paintings, the sculptures were never shifted from this country to the other country. It's a major, major challenge for large sculptures to be taken to the other side of the other part of the world. How is the experience in working in Paris and working in Chhatarpur? I said, Chhatarpur is preferred. Chhatarpur is a much better working condition than Europe. Why? When people will, it's a shocking thing for anybody to hear that. But I would still say, because here, I remember once a tempo was, in one of the tempos, a truck, I was getting my sculptures loaded. And I didn't have enough people here. I only just had to clap, few people come there. It's like a celebration, they all wanted to help me to load a sculpture into the truck. But do you think if I clapped standing in the middle of the Europe in Paris, anybody would come and help me? No, nobody will.